All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to tell a story. It's a story about a very common business villain. A good process that's just, gone bad. And then, we're going to introduce the hero that can fix it. A really powerful framework for driving excellence.
I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? You've got a system, it works, and then slowly, almost so you don't notice it, things just start to fall apart. Delays creep in, mistakes start happening, and all of a sudden, you're just fighting fires all day instead of actually getting work done. Sound familiar?
Well, for one company, this wasn't just a nagging feeling. It was a full-blown crisis. Their delivery delays had shot up by a quarter. Customers were, not happy, and they were letting them know. And worst of all, entire orders were just vanishing. Poof, gone into some black hole of inefficiency. This is the villain of our story.
Now, to take on this villain, the team knew they couldn't just start randomly throwing solutions at the wall to see what stuck. Nope. They had to understand the problem first. And that brings us to the very first phase of our hero's journey, define. This is where the goal is to frame the problem with absolute crystal clear precision.
And here is our hero, the DMAIC framework. That's DMAIC. It stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. Think of it like a roadmap. It's a structured, data-driven method that guides you from total chaos to clarity and ultimately to excellence.
So, the very first thing the team did in that define phase was create this thing called a CPOC map. It's basically a one-page, high-level view of the entire process. You've got your suppliers, inputs, the process itself, the outputs, and finally, the customers. This simple little map is so powerful because it sets the boundaries. It makes it totally clear where the process begins and where it ends. Okay, so with those boundaries set, the team created a really clear, measurable goal. They said, we are going to cut our average delivery time in half, from 10 days down to 5, and we're going to do it in 6 months. See, this isn't some vague wish. It's a specific, time-bound mission that's going to guide every single decision they make from this point forward. So, the problem is defined, the goal is set. The team's next step was to stop guessing and start getting the facts. This brings us right into the analyze phase. And this phase always begins with one critical action. You have to measure the problem before you can ever hope to diagnose it.
And here it is, the hard truth the data showed them. This is the measure step in action. The reality was an average delivery time of 10.2 days. And the process was performing at a 2.8 sigma level, which all you really need to know is that's not great. Higher is way better. This baseline data proved the problem wasn't just a feeling, it was a quantifiable failure. It showed them exactly how far they had to go.
Now this slide shows the big turning point in their whole investigation. The team used what's called a Pareto analysis. It's a tool that's basically designed to find the vital few causes that create most of the problems. The 80-20 rule. And the result was absolutely stunning. A massive 80% of all their delays came from just 2 spots: issues with suppliers and bottlenecks in their own assembly line. But they didn't stop there. They dug even deeper, using a technique called the 5 whys, where you just keep asking why to get past the symptoms. So why were suppliers late? Turns out it's because they were relying on risky single-source contracts. And why were there huge queues in assembly? Because of these super rigid fixed-batch schedules. These weren't just symptoms anymore. These were the true actionable root causes.
Okay, so with the real culprits identified, the team was finally ready for the climax of their journey, the improve phase. This is where all that detective work really pays off, because now they get to design and test a real solution.
And they didn't just jump on the first idea that popped into their heads. They brainstormed 15 different possibilities. Then they scored them based on impact versus effort. The big winners? First, qualify new alternate suppliers to get rid of that single-source problem. And second, implement a flexible, just-in-time scheduling system. They even ran a special analysis just to make sure these new solutions wouldn't accidentally create a bunch of new problems. Smart.
And the results from their pilot test? Well, they were just incredible. That average delivery time, it plummeted from over 10 days down to just 4.8. They didn't just meet their goal, they beat it.
And it wasn't just about being faster. It was about being more reliable. Their on-time delivery rate soared to 95%. That consistency their customers had been begging for, it was finally there. In the bottom line, the pilot showed that these changes would generate $300,000 in savings every single year. A clear, undeniable return on their effort.
But hold on, the story doesn't end with a successful pilot. I mean, winning the battle is one thing, but winning the war is something else entirely. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial phase, control. This is all about making sure the process never, ever slips back into its old bad habits.
So to lock in those gains, they put a whole system in place. They wrote up new standard operating procedures. They started using visual signals for scheduling. They set up control charts to monitor delivery times in real time. And, this is key, they created a rapid reaction plan. So if things even started to drift, a team was already assigned to fix it, like within a day.
And just look at the long-term impact. 3 months after they rolled it out everywhere, the process was stable at a much, much higher 4.2 sigma level. And beyond the initial money savings, they also saved 1,200 labor hours and saw their customer net promoter score, which is a huge measure of loyalty, jump up by 18 points. Wow.
So why does this one company's story matter to you? Well, it's because the framework they used, DMAIC, it isn't just for one type of problem. Its power is pretty much universal.
I mean, whether you're in healthcare trying to improve how patients move through a hospital, or you're in finance trying to speed up transactions, or in services just trying to make the customer experience better, this structured, data-driven approach, it just works. It gives you the tools to solve really complex problems no matter where you are.
So, if you take just one thing away from this story today, let it be this definition. DMAIC is a proven way to get not just a quick fix, but real, sustainable improvement. At its heart, it's about replacing guesswork with data and replacing chaos with control.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? After seeing this whole journey, from a really painful problem to a lasting solution, it's worth asking yourself, what process in your world is just waiting for its hero? What process will you improve next?